So I figured out the formula for how to make this podcast work for me. Every time I've recorded, like this morning, some guy randomly showed up to my door, one of my dad's friends, and handed me like 10 pounds of meat, frozen meat. Was like, I don't need this. You want it? Before that, my dog got hit in the middle of recording by a car, and I had to run outside and fucking deal with that. And the past episode 0 and now should be fine because I've found out the times where I'm drinking, everything's fine.
So booze solves everything.
Booze solves world peace, at least in my home. So, John, Lou, what are we doing right now with John?
Well, first I'm gonna fucking age restrict the fuck out of this video, Dakota, because you're telling people to drink. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Lou, and welcome to the Anime Hour. With me today, I have my broco emoto, Dakota Broski from Dakota Broski TV.
God
Say what's
damn,
up, Dakota.
you deliver. All right, what's up, boys? It's Dakota Broski from Dakota Broski Anime TV, coming at you live from the audio room that gets no audio done, except for the podcast, which we are delivering to you. With us today, we have the one, the only, the Baron of J's, BaronJ.
Oh no, it's me. I'm here. What's happened?
What dude?
They tied me to a chair. They won't let me leave.
I drove 12 hours and I'm like, yo, sit the fuck down and record this. I'm actually in his living room right now. He doesn't even know it. I mean, he knows it because he's tied up in the other room.
I highly doubt that because the only other living creature in my room right now is a bird that's staring at me because I'm speaking into a stick.
Number one bird
Animals
dad right
must
here.
think we're animals must think we're so fucking weird.
I know, right?
Look at this motherfucker just talking into nothingness. What the fuck
Speaking
is
of
wrong with
which,
him? So you guys know I teach, and I had a student come up to me. Was it like 2 or 3 days ago? And he goes, "Mister, I need to talk to you about an anime." I'm like, "Sure, what do you want to talk about?" He's like, "I want to talk to you about Monster Musume." I just closed the door in his face.
Listen here, son.
No, but the best part about it,
I'm not legally allowed, sir.
the best part about it is I saw him a little bit later, and I was listening to a conversation that he was having with his friend, and they were bitching about Hentai Haven being closed.
Oh my god.
Damn.
It was great.
R.I.P.
To
in
be
pieces.
young. To be young.
Oh man.
Low key,
shit.
when I was a little, I was like 14, 13 years old, and I'd go to the library and like read manga, and I'm like, yo, what's this Rom the Half shit right here? And I'd read it, and I'm like, yo, there's 80s titties in here. And I would legit just get a bunch of fucking Rom the Half and like go home and just read it. It's fucking great.
Dude, I remember like there's the people that are like movies and like comic books are oversaturating and desensitizing our youth. They should just go to the library. So I was a library going kid when I was a kid, and I went in and I found the first like 5 volumes of Preacher.
It's all the same shit.
And like they're like, we don't have much manga because manga's degenerate and like blah 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 because I lived in a Christian town. But they had the first 5 volumes of Preacher, which has a guy named Jesus Christ who fucks hamsters and guinea pigs and rabbits and shit.
That might be my new favorite book.
Oh no, Preacher is one of my favorite comic books of all time. It's great. It's
You know
fantastic.
what my favorite book is? I gotta find the word for it right now. It's the premise of the book is Barack Obama and Biden are a crime-solving duo, and let me see if I can find it. Crime-solving.
Well, while you're looking that up, there's actually
Hope Never Dies.
An arc.
Sorry, Hope Never Dies. It's about Biden and Obama going on like Hardy Boy mystery adventures and solving mysteries together. It's fucking great.
I also happen to know that, or I've been told by our friend the Anime Collector, so that's Brad, that there is an arc in Baki the Grappler where George W. Bush gets kidnapped.
Damn.
And Yeah, they build an entire story about him,
it's
and
up
also
to Baki.
and also Trump makes an appearance in Inuyashiki.
The rest of you losers can go do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Which is
Oh
fucking
shit!
hilarious.
Yeah, they were. He was like, "We need to build a wall around Japan and make sure no the enemy gets out." That was really bad Trump impression.
That was really fucking terrible, Dakota.
Yeah, I
You
don't
should feel
know.
bad about
The Trump
that.
impression is all about you put the rasp in your voice, you add a little bit of the Boston accent. You have to say, listen, there might have been collusion. We don't know. I don't know. And that's
You
not
have
that's
to make
not
it
even
sound
good.
like you're talking with your hands.
Exactly. That's what I'm
With your
doing.
little-
Is I'm
little-
waving my hands around like an idiot, and my bird's getting very scared now.
So, Anime Hour with John, Lou,
John,
Dakota,
let's
and Bird.
John, why don't you tell the audience a little about yourself?
Right. So my name. Hi, Lulu. My name's John, aka BaronJ. I started like 4 years ago, deciding that I was in a creative rut and I just needed to make something, and I was inspired by other YouTubers like Garnt and Arcada and stuff like that, but mainly Demolition D, Demo DZ, and. I just decided to start making these little short form reviews and stuff where I would just like on my little Adderall fueled brain going off just saying whatever I thought would be necessary. And then apparently I did one about anime and it blew up and people were like, you should talk about more anime. And I was like, okay. So now we're here because apparently I'm funny or something like that. And I also pride myself on being an audio engineer and making my stuff sound good. So
Your stuff always sounds good, dude.
Hey,
It always blows me away.
I try. And recently I made the executive decision that my old mic was just not, it wasn't giving me the quality that I wanted. So I switched over to another one and it's been
What do you
nothing
run
but,
now?
what I've got now is it's a GXL 1200. It's a CAD. It's a little pencil shotgun. It's not really meant for voice, but because I know how the cardioid works.
Oh, you know what? I remember seeing you with it. Okay, in
Yeah.
the video. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a little tiny guy, and I got a new audio interface and everything like that to reduce noise because the other one had been basically dying for like 6 months. So this new one everything's working great. Everything sounds awesome. I don't even need to like treat my room or anything like that. As long as I've got this really nice proximity effect, like you
It's
can
so
just
close. Yeah.
yeah. And even then, if I back up, I'm still audible. It's like not even a huge deal. That's why I like it so much.
So,
John, can I describe my recording space to you? Because
Oh my
I
God,
described it in the
yes.
last video.
Dude, that's like a thing I've wanted to do on Twitter, like rate my setup, like rate my audio setup, and I just like see what people do, and I'm like, oh my God.
I showed it in the last episode, and essentially what I do to get the best audio that I can is because like my environment generally isn't suited for audio recording at all. Like I have laminate floors, I have irregular shaped walls. My ceilings just lead to a lot of echo. I don't have a lot of furniture. So to record and for it not to sound absolutely fucking terrible, I had to build a blanket for it. So what I do is I take some tall lamps and I'm draping them with like a nice heavy blanket. And I have a nice little enclosure for my mic. So that's the best I can do.
it's just straight Donald Glover.
Hey, I mean, that's what you do. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I learned that from you.
I know.
Whatever
You're
works,
supposed
works.
to. You're supposed to like, if you can't like put up soundproofing stuff. Well, a good thing that I recommend a lot is big fuzzy blankets. Go down to Target, grab a big fuzzy blanket or something like that. Put some hooks on the wall and just hang it there so it
Yeah.
absorbs some of the echo.
My office has double doors, like big double wooden doors. So what I did was I have a blanket that I roll up and I clip it to the very top, and then when I come to record, I just drop it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like it's great, simple shit like that, guys. It's so good.
John, we brought you on because in one of your more recent videos, or maybe it was your most recent, you reviewed a show called El Hazard.
El
right?
Hazard, man. Yeah, that was Right Stuff. Hey, baby, calm down. Yeah, Right Stuff approached me and said, hey, we want you to cover one of our shows. And I was like, finally, somebody that wants to work with me and isn't like a weird shell corporation or anything like that. So, and I've had notorious bad luck with any sort of website besides Kit. Kit's been pretty nice to me. But all the other ones have like fun fact, and I'm going to state this publicly because at this point I don't care because it's been like a year to 2 years. The Hello Talk sponsorship and the one with AppNana, neither of them have paid me.
That's fucked.
Yeah, they didn't do that much, so I don't necessarily care. But I'm still like, man, I just shilled their product and they said nothing. But with Right Stuff, they actually like sent me the DVD. They did a giveaway, and it's funny enough, the guy that won it is a dude from my area.
Really?
Cool.
Yeah, it was super lucky that it turned out that way. They were like, hey, do you know a guy that lives in Indiana by this name? And I was like, oh yeah, I know him. I used to run into him in like the mall and stuff. So that was really cool, and he did get it, which was really awesome. He sent me a picture of it. And then yeah, they gave me a list of shows, and I was just like, oh, okay, this is like Gundam, Astro Boy, Gundam, and then I was like, wait, what's this? El Hazard. Holy shit, that's the funniest name I've ever heard in my entire life. I have to watch this show. And then I got the DVD and watched it, and I was like, hey, this show's not that bad. This show's actually pretty good. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the 90s dubbing scene of like those really awkward things. Like one of my favorite memories from my entire YouTube career was Garnt and Holden and Sid and all them invited us. They invited a couple of us, but it ended up just being like me and Holden and all them. We went back to Garnt's, their like little hostel thing they were staying in, and they had a big screen, and they threw up the entirety of Garza's Wing.
Oh God, yes.
Which they were like, we have to watch this because I'd never seen it. I never took the time to watch it. And listen, if you guys want to watch some absolute gold, you should definitely watch that.
Mom told me I have bruises all over my body. Is there any connection to this? There is a war going on. Even dinosaurs are here. And they use bows and arrows. My sword is unbelievably dull.
Yeah,
I have some friends that run a podcast called WTF Anime.
Oh,
and,
yeah. I know those guys. I think they follow me.
So what I decided to do, because I guested on, I think it was the most recent episode. I don't know if it's dropped or not. But anyways, I told them that the next episode or thing that they had to review was episode 1 of Garza's Wing. They have no context for the show. All I did was I told people on Twitter that they that's what they were going to watch. And people were sending them their condolences or congratulating them. It was either one or the other.
Yeah, I have me and Brooks, Dang Drummer, used to share a hotel room with these people, Anime Central, the first few years we went there. And their religion was they wouldn't watch Garza's Wing all year, but they would rewatch the first 3 episodes when they got to Anime Central, and they saw each other. And it was like we would just join them for that magical moment.
Yeah, I think it's a good tradition to have to watch terrible movies together with people. I still remember the first year I went to Anime Next in New York. I was there with Alex Akami, RC Anime, Glenn, all those
very
guys.
Very good looking men. Very good looking men.
Very yeah, absolutely. When I went there with them, Matt was just like, we have to watch The Room. And I was like,
yes.
Why? I've never seen it, but I know it's bad. And they were like, well, we just have to watch it. So we all sat down. It was like 2 a.m. and we watched it, and it was one of the best experiences. We were all laughing so hard the entire time.
You're not good. You're just a chicken. Chip, 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 chip.
Because like none of us except for Matt had seen it.
Really?
So, oh yeah, it was a very, very nice experience.
Oh, hi, doggy.
Oh hi, Mark.
So I actually haven't seen The Room. I've seen a ton of reviews for The Room. Like there's a really good one done by actually a wrestling podcast called OSW Review, and it was hilarious, like the way they broke it down, because they do what we do, which John, I don't know if you've had a chance to check out our show yet, but we actually splice footage in over the audio, so it doesn't stay being audio only, and they do something like that, and I basically got to watch the whole movie on their review. Nice. I was dying the entire time.
We only do it when like stuff is relevant to like the conversation, so it's normally just the anime hour background. So if you're watching it on the side screen, you'll see something flash, you go like, what the fuck?
No, yeah.
So
it's just like podcasting on YouTube, you know, it's a video medium.
Might as well use it.
Why not have, yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, they won't have any explanation for all the pictures of Kanbaru Suraga that you just put up on the screen 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, you know, the ones that are still going.
Yeah, the ones that are still there. People have had no context for that, but now that I'm saying it, it's happening.
Yeah, it makes total sense now.
Got you, Zot.
So the reason why I brought up the El Hazard video that you did is because, okay, Dakota, whatever you say.
I was going to say
I'm thinking about Complex Suguru right now. I'm sorry.
So, I mean, you do you, man. You have whatever kinks you have. I'm not going to judge. So the reason why I brought it up is when I think of your content, more often than not, you bring up some shows that I've never fucking heard of.
Oh, yeah.
And they always sound super interesting. So I was wondering, well, what are some of the shows that you've covered on your channel that are relatively old or obscure?
Let's see. So there was the El Hazard one. One of my favorite videos I still have ever done was the it's not necessarily an older one, but it's still like not exactly in the public eye, which was the Katekyo Hitman Reborn that I did with Holden, which was like my first like introduction to the character we all know as Holden.
John. You see, John, there's a little problem with saying shit like that, okay? Not saying you did anything wrong, okay? But saying stuff like that is the kind of stuff that makes people become quiet, go away, make it so they're never found again. Get shoes that are kind of heavy, maybe learn how to swim. So if you could do me and you a favor, let's just drop the subject and agree to never talk about it again. Sound good?
Okay.
Talking about that show was fun, and the only link to Holden from it was that he was from Chicago, and Chicago has the mob and the mafia, so tis, that was the whole joke. And then, let's see, what was another good one? Oh,
you did one, I think it was for like Halloween or something.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of, was Straight Jacket. Yeah. And I was like looking up horror stuff, and I was like trying to find horror anime to watch for the Halloween thing, and it was like, you should watch Straight Jacket. It's a pretty good one. And I looked it up, and I was like, how have I never fucking heard of this? It's only 4 episodes, I think, 3 or 4 maybe. But like I saw it. Where did I find it? It was at I think my local video shop had a copy of it, and I just like picked it up and watched it and was just like, what the fuck? This is awesome. It's essentially like, okay, let me do this as best as I can from memory. It's just a guy that like they fight. It's either demons or vampires. I'm pretty sure it's demons, but they do so in giant suits of armor that are essentially like Gundams. They're basically like Sentai Gundams that like shoot missiles and shit at demons. And
that sounds fucking awesome,
dude. It's fucking great. The animation's pretty spectacular. The soundtrack's pretty good. It doesn't have that great of an ending because it's only like 4 episodes, but for the money for what you get, it's actually fairly awesome. God, now I have to like look at my channel listings and see what else I've done.
My favorite review you did was of Sword Art Online Season 2.
Yeah, that's totally obscure, Dakota. Very obscure.
It wasn't.
No one's ever heard of that show.
It was a gag. It was great.
Nice. Let's see.
True BaronJ fans remember.
I'm trying to go through now. I did the thing about sex and violence and Mach Speed.
Yes.
Let's see. Just kind of going through some of these now.
Would S-Cryed
yeah,
count?
S-Cryed was a good one. Yeah, that would count because I don't think a lot of people remember S-Cryed or Escudaido as it's supposed to be said.
That aired on Toonami, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, but it had such a weird time slot. It was like, I think it was like, not 11:30. I think it was like 12:30. It was like after all the main shit aired and everybody like tuned out.
Because I remember that shit, and I remember like being really hyped about that show.
I have a massive hard-on for like interesting Japanese like mystery anime. So like stuff that like Rampo Katan, which is a great show. Ungo, which is a fantastic show that like nobody has watched. What's the one? I can think of the fucking OP right now. It's oh my god, it's stuck. Oh, it's Everything Becomes F. The Perfect Insider. That's what it is. Perfect Insider.
Yeah, fuck, man, I remember that.
Yeah, dude, that show was fantastic.
Like, I think people like tuned it out and started labeling it as pretentious, and there was this whole like stance in the community that, you know, oh, no one's gonna watch that shit. I thought it was a pretty good show.
No, yeah, it was.
I enjoyed it.
It was fairly all right. Like it did have its flaws, and I think I covered that in the video. I was like, yeah, it does kind of get long-winded, but any show that's like a mystery or anything like that is going to have a crap ton of dialogue in it. So yes, long-winded is a very apt description. But yeah, I think I've gone back to like 2014, so I think I'm running out of stuff to talk about. Oh, and then there was the whole joke of my buddy Connor, Blue Drake 42. When I first started my channel, the thing he kept coming back and asking me to cover was Last Exile. Mm-hmm. And I still to this day have never actually reviewed the show.
Is that the same joke you had when you were like in the garage or whatever with like a gun?
Oh yeah, no, that was back like I've had a very big tonal shift with my videos. Like I used to kind of do it with a little bit of a plot structure in mind. So like every year when I would go to Anime Expo or Anime Next or something like that, some quote unquote evil force would trap me in my house, and it would prevent me from doing it until I like reviewed a bunch of stuff in a row. So it was kind of like my review week of awesome that Arcada does, but I would just do it like week by week for an entire month. But that kind of got old, and it kind of, I look back on it and some bits were funny and a lot of it was cringy and a lot of it was like very like you had to know certain things in order to get the humor. So I decided to start scrapping a lot of it and just going for actual like scripted comedy. And doing that has been like one of the best things that ever happened for my channel. Cause otherwise I wouldn't have done the Neo Yokio video that blew the fuck up.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah. I reviewed season 1 of Neo Yokio and it did pretty well too. So it's like,
yeah.
Jaden Smith is like apparently a gold mine.
I didn't touch it and I was like, yo, fuck. Missed opportunity. Drop that ball.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why, but you got the boss baby, dude. So
that's
like,
fair. Shout out to the second week in a row we've brought up the boss baby.
Oh God.
Which is infinitely better than a silent voice. My favorite cringy one you did was a review of Death Parade, which featured
some guy that was in my house for a night.
Some guy that was in your house and Battleship.
Yeah. That was a fun night. It was such a spur of the moment thing too, because you were in town and you were
I was like I'm traveling across the country.
We're gonna go find a hotel room, and I was like, shut the fuck up. Drive to my place. You're staying in our like giant room out back. And
so I have some obscure shows. I want you guys to tell me if you've seen any of them.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. Have either of you heard of Panty Pony Dash?
Yes, I have heard of that. I have not watched the whole thing. I've only watched a few episodes of it.
What was it called?
Panty Pony Dash. It was done by Studio Shaft. It is kind of like it's all right. Imagine if Shaft did Azumanga Daioh. That's kind of what it would be.
Jesus Christ. I looked up pictures of this and I'm like seeing that right now. Azumanga Daioh by Shaft. Wow. I haven't seen it, but guess what's going on the list?
It's It's pretty good.
But do their heads tilt? That's the main question.
Not really.
What it might be before
This
tilt
predates.
time.
It was before Tilt Time. I think it aired in 2006.
I've told you guys about that too, right?
2006 BT
2005.
T.
I was close.
But I've told you guys about the shaft thing, right?
The one,
No.
the head tilt.
Yeah, I'm training my bird that every time I say shaft, she cocks her head and looks at me.
Dude.
Perfect.
Hell
Yeah.
yes.
And so far it's actually working, but she's a little miffed right now, so I can't get video of it.
One day.
Yeah,
There's
If you
time.
get it before recording, we'll put it in.
for sure.
All right.
I mean, get it
Here's
before
another
editing.
one. Onara Goro. Have either of you heard of Onara Goro?
Spell it real quick.
Onara, and then Goro, Gorou.
Feel like I've seen.
I have.
I have seen
this. I remember.
This show is about, for the audience, which, I mean, they're watching a clip of it on screen, is about sentient fart clouds that share wisdom.
Yeah. I never watched it, but I knew of it. I just didn't remember what
I
it was called.
saw it. I read the premise, and I'm like, one day.
It's so fucking stupid, but it's also great. And it's not like it's hilarious or anything. Like, it's a very, like, dry humor. But I fucking, like, was dying when I found out about it, and I was dying the entire time I was watching it. It was a fucking trip.
That looks like something I should probably watch when I'm really fucking drunk at a con.
That would probably be a good idea.
Nice.
Okay, I'm gonna keep scrolling through my shit.
I had
look
a couple pulled out.
Oh shit, share.
Yeah, so there's a couple of mecha ones that I have seen. I don't think I've watched some of them all the way through, but there was a period of time in my life where it was between the ages of 18 to 23, 24 when I was like working my way through like college to go to school for audio engineering. So all I did was work and then go home and watch anime. And it would typically, things would happen at 4:20 a.m. Wink, wink, judge, judge.
It was prayer,
right.
just so you guys know.
Yeah, it was prayer. I was a wholesome Christian boy. Hey, come on now. It's okay.
She's like, nah, I gotta talk about the anime too.
Yeah, she's
My
screeching
favorite
at me
character is the retarded bird from Toradora. Come on now. Give my boy some love.
Here, I know what you want. Give me
She
one
wants
moment.
Tamako Market. That's what she wants.
She wants Tamako Market. No. One of them is Blue Comet SP. God, Blue Comet SPT Lasner. That was a weird one. It's a little bit like Gundam. In fact, it's a lot of bit like Gundam. But it takes.
Was it done by Sunrise?
Was it Sunrise? No, it was Nihon Sunrise. Yeah, and set on like the moon and Mars, and it's like it takes place during the Cold War. It was really interesting. Okay.
It sounds.
You're gonna have to give me a hot second because my bird wants a tortilla chip. Give me a second.
That's
Okay.
fine. I'm looking at the designs right now, and it looks pretty fucking dope. And I wonder what year it came out in, because I love the designs. Mechs look the same, but the man, these guys are badass.
See, now I'm wondering how difficult it's going to be to find footage of this thing. That
Very
I've never heard of.
difficult. We're gonna put fucking PNGs in the film right now.
I mean, shit, man. That's the go-to. If anything, I could always fall back to that. Actually, John mentioned demo a little bit earlier, and
I always
because
have
of
to.
Because of demo, I went ahead and watched a anime called what was it called? Alien 9.
Oh, dude, Alien 9 is fucking weird.
It is so fucking weird, but like again, fun. And that's
surprisingly
fine. Like, I'm okay
dark.
Yeah.
Surprisingly dark, and that kind of listen like here's my thing. I'll say my 2 cents on Demolition D. I when I first started out, I had a fear that I was kind of pigeonholing myself into these people that were like trying to copy demo style and stuff like that. So I had to like, that was kind of what I was talking about when I was like, I had to kind of scrap a lot of my live action stuff and like go straight into scripted comedy and try to make things, you know, more my style. And I'll always give mad respect to the guy because he's been in one of my videos. So like, I have nothing but respect for the dude, and like, we still like, occasionally I'll pop into his Discord and talk to him and stuff, but he's kind of doing his own thing now, and it's really great. He started streaming again recently, and I was very happy about it.
Didn't he get kicked from Twitch?
I think so, for some reason. I think it was like he played music or something like that he wasn't supposed to. I don't know. But yeah, it was, yeah, I like that we can look back and say that, like, you know, he was a huge starting point for a lot of people, but at the same time, I know he's listening to this and being like, God, these anime fuckers need to stop talking about me. So
That's fair.
I get it. I get
Funny
it.
enough,
So I try not to bring him up that often anymore.
I never heard of Demo until after everybody started saying, "Yo, dog, I fucking miss Demo. I wish he was back." And I'm like, who the fuck is Demo, first of all? And then I binge watched all of his videos,
You know
and I'm
what?
like, oh, that's why.
We should talk about this. This is something I thought about him the other day, and I realized, you know what? I relate to this guy a lot. Everybody pour one out for our OG Oto-san, Grumpy G-san. Anybody else remember Grumpy G-san?
Shit,
Jesus
yes.
Christ.
Like, I remembered him again for the first time in a while the other day, and I was like, dude, I'm just gonna watch a bunch of his videos. That guy was fucking awesome. For anyone that doesn't know, it's just this like 60-year-old guy, like huge beard, walking out in the wilderness talking about the beauty of nature, and he's like, now let's talk about some Japanese anime.
When you say pour one out, did he die?
Yeah.
God damn it.
We don't know if he did or if it's just kind of implied that he stopped because his health was failing or something like that, but he kind of dropped off the face of the planet, so it's kind of like a...
I mean, his last video was like, what, 7 years ago?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. God damn, I'm taking a shot right now.
Yeah. If you are up in the sky, you know, mad respect, my brother.
I remember Holden bringing him up, and I think it was a podcast or somebody. I think it may have been that. Yeah, probably a podcast somewhere. But man, that's like so original, and I fucking love it. I mean,
I've thought about doing, like, if I do another vintage anime review kind of thing like that, I've thought about paying an homage to him because I've got the beard and everything right now.
I don't have the beard like him,
I would
but
go
I'm
buy
growing
some
it pretty-
suspenders and a hat.
When it comes to obscure anime, when you guys started talking about it, I was like, first of all, okay, Alexa, define obscure. And I was like, all right, cool, something different. And I started thinking about it, and I started typing up stuff that I'd read, and I'm like, well, let me see what other people are saying about obscure anime that nobody's ever heard of. And I didn't know there was an anime just called Bartender from 2006.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
So this,
I think Holden mentioned it to me at some point.
man, it's from Palm Studio. Never fucking heard of them. Sorry for the people at Palm Studio. They did Bartender, and it looks like maybe 6 other titles, and that's it. But it looks great. The cocktails I see them describing is really nice, and they actually go into detail apparently about a lot of them and the history of them. So I will be watching that after the stream. And I will see how many of these I can physically make at my bar, and I will be flexing on random customers. And they're like, yo, where'd you find this drink at? I'm like, don't worry about it. It's totally not from an anime. So, obscure anime.
I have a few.
Go for it.
More. Or
go for it. You're
so
in the row.
How many of you, or have either of you, have you seen Ground Control to Psychoelectrical?
I understood.
It's a show that came out in 2011. Another show by Shaft. The Japanese title is Denpa Ono to Seishun Otoko.
Is that based on a light novel?
I
Sounds like a light
believe
novel.
I think it is.
Yeah, it
think
is.
it
It
is.
is.
Yeah. Okay. Let me look this up real quick. Hang on. Ground Control the Psycho. Yeah, I think I watched like 2 episodes of this and dropped it when it was airing.
It was pretty it's pretty cool.
How do I spell this?
There's a girl who walks around in I'll link it in the chat, Dakota. It's about a girl who walks around wrapped in a mattress for reasons. It's great though. I mean, it's I recommend watching it. I think it's worth watching.
For sure. There's a bunch of shows like that. Like
It's just so much fucking anime comes out. It's so hard to catch up to all of it, or at least watch a majority of it, unless you like dedicate at least like 30 hours a week to just watching anime, because you're always going to be behind the bar.
There's always a backlog, and there's always new anime coming out.
In 2012,
so you
you
have to strike a balance.
In 2012, I could flex on so many people, but now it's like, yo, what?
Yeah,
I'm 4 shows per season. That's as much as I can
4
manage.
4 shows per season. Yeah, for me it's like now that I do the seasonal crap, I basically watch every new show of a season. I watch the first like 1 or 2 episodes of every new show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because I do the seasonal stuff too, but to not as great effect. And it's like the first 3 episodes you gotta get a feel for it, and then it's like, all right, cool. Take this to the garbage can, and the rest I'll keep.
Yeah, I've narrowed it down to 2 because like if I've only watched 2 episodes of a show and then Twitter is still talking about it, then I know I'm probably supposed to go back and continue watching the show. But otherwise, it's like otherwise I just like pick the ones that I watch and pick the ones that I don't watch. And there's a surprising amount of shows that like I watch that people are surprised that I say that I still watch. Like, fun fact that nobody really knows about me: I religiously watch every episode of One Piece when it airs.
Okay, so we have an ongoing trend right now where that gets brought up like every episode.
That's weird. That's really weird. But
I mean, how did D say he went about?
So D was like, "Yo, One Piece, fuck that." But I do watch a lot of.
I think he said he plays all the Pirate Warrior games.
the Pirate Warrior games are great.
And he's like, "Yo, I know the story because I played a Pirate Warriors game."
Yeah.
So me and D were fighting. He was like, "Yo, I watched all of Gintama," and I'm like, "Yo, I've watched like 400 episodes of One Piece, and I'm still working on it."
Yeah, it makes sense. And for me, it's like I don't even do it because I necessarily like the arcs or anything like that. Or although I will say right now,
are you watching the fight right now between the fucking?
I'm going to after we're done. I haven't seen it yet.
So
Dude, the last episodes, like I've been really surprised. The last
Crunchyroll won't shut up about it. I have to watch all the videos they post on YouTube. It's fucking great.
The animation that they've done for the Katakuri fight is fucking incredible.
Fuck, it's so good.
I was like, I'm not watching One Piece right now. I'm watching like one of their movies. It's great.
Oh my god.
For every episode like that, there's like 200 of the like Sanji suddenly looked to the right and saw something to be continued.
Yeah. Yo, Sanji crying. By the way, Sanji crying. Like, okay. I've never felt more for him.
Oh yeah, no.
I won't spoil it.
He's had a very good character arc this
but
entire
goddamn,
arc.
he went from like last place to first place, but not first.
I like
place,
how we went from talking about obscure anime to talking about one of the most like publicly known about. But yeah, no, for me it was just like when I started watching it when I was like a kid on Saturday mornings, and then like I sort of grew to finding out that it was still airing in Japan, and I was like, maybe I should watch it in Japanese. So I used to go to, oh my god, what was it called? Xvid, I think. It was a DivX website that just people realized that their upload limit was like 30 minutes, so they would just upload all of these episodes of subbed anime, and I would load up 15 tabs and just watch the shows like hour by hour by hour on my computer. And like I just got into the habit of watching the new episode every single Saturday, and I've done that ever since. And it's like I said, not even that I like certain episodes of the show, it's just so much of a tradition for me. Like I do it every Saturday that like I don't even consider myself like a huge One Piece fan. It's just like something that I do. So
one day I'll get there.
Hey, I will say there are if like no one has ever watched One Piece ever, and you do think you want to get caught up, there's like 4 or 5 movies that they did that have like improved animation and stuff like that.
There's
each
one
arc.
for there's one for Nami's arc.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find it right now because I can't find it online. I'm trying to find a physical copy of it. And
good luck with that. That's
yeah, dude.
Physical
it's so
copies of it are very difficult to find.
I can't even find it online. Like I don't know what the fuck, dude. Anyways, so
yeah, but they're essentially just super cuts with improved like motion tweening and stuff like that, and
1280p.
Yeah, 1280p. Yeah, it's a hell of a lot better than watching it airing. But I mean, I think they've done it up to the Thriller Bark arc, so you can like cut through. I want to say like 500 to 600 episodes of the show in a day.
Yeah.
So
Dakota,
there's
I'm
no
start
excuse.
watching One Piece. I'm gonna start watching One Piece.
Yeah.
That's what I just learned right now.
It took 4 fucking episodes, but Lou's gonna start watching One Piece.
Yeah.
At least the movies.
I did know. Fun fact. Before the One Piece anime started airing, Production IG did an OVA. There's an OVA, a One Piece OVA by Production IG.
You know what?
It
I heard
looks
about this. This is
real
the
weird.
old. It was really old, wasn't it?
Yeah, it came out in '98.
Yes,
it was
I remember
directed by
this.
Goro Taniguchi.
I've watched this. Yeah. Very.
He's the
interesting.
director that did Escryed, Planetes.
They look
what else did he
badass,
do?
by the way. The characters look
Code
badass.
Geass.
Yeah.
So, any other obscure animes that's not One Piece?
I do have a couple that I had pulled up.
Oh, by all means, please
Yeah.
go ahead and share yours.
It's not necessarily. I think a lot of people do know about this. It was just mainly overlooked. Was Gasaraki. I'm going to bring up a lot of stuff by Sunrise because they did a lot of shows in between Gundams.
I mean, I haven't seen it, but I've heard of Gasaraki.
Yeah, Gasaraki. A lot of people know that one, but it was mainly overlooked. And then the other one I had, I'm going to have to figure out how to fucking pronounce this. I think it's Rise Kraus? Night Hunters, I think is what it's called in the United States or something like that. But it's like, it's based off of 4 assassins. They fight crime families in Tokyo.
That sounds badass.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's very 90s, and I can't remember if there's a dub or not. There probably is.
Man, these are like old school designs. I love it.
Dude, if you ever
I'm getting Vampire Night vibes. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's got a very Vampire Night art style. But I remember the action being really good. Character designs are great. There's a guy with a cowboy hat. I think he wears a cowboy hat. Maybe. Don't quote me on that.
One guy has these weird ass sunglasses that never covers his actual eyes.
Well, that's just an anime trope in general. If you wear tiny ass sunglasses, they can never cover your eyes. Just look at Vash the Stampede.
Yeah, I love cheek glasses. It's great.
For sure. Okay, we should probably move on to your second segment because I think we've been talking about this for an hour.
Wait, I haven't.
Well, I have one last.
I haven't listened to any.
Which, I mean, that is like, this is the second segment, the old and obscure anime. Which the next one is we'll be talking about new shit. Which I'll lead into that. But the last thing I wanted to talk about was Fune wo Amu, which is a show that was picked up by Amazon Prime a couple years ago, and it made its way into my top 10. And I only know a few people that have actually sat and watched the show.
What's that in Fune?
The Great Passage.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
So that was it was done by Zexus. The music was done by the same person that composed for Kuroko no Basket.
Really?
Yeah, and it has like that super intense vibe, and it's a very like toned down and grounded show.
Actually,
and the whole premise of the show is a guy is consigned to writing a dictionary with a team of people.
God,
and he's someone that struggles. I made a fucking video on it, and I was like my favorite video that I've ever done, and he's very socially inept because he understands so much of language, but he doesn't understand how words can be used and how that can affect the ideas or messages that are being conveyed. It's a very, very smart and endearing show, and you just root for the characters the whole time. I really love that show.
God, because like,
and I would say that it's obscure because, like, again, I don't know many people that watched it here in the West.
Yeah, no, I hear about
because of anime strike.
Yeah, I hear about the description a lot, but I never hear about the title of the anime.
Pretty great.
So before we move on,
hang on, I'm looking up the director for that did something else. Steins Gate. It's the director of Steins Gate. That's why I know it.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah,
very familiar.
There's a lot of reasons to watch the show. It looks pretty good, and you know I normally don't like shows by Zexes, but this one specifically looks pretty all right. I'm a fan.
So before we move on, I haven't really listed any of the obscure anime yet, so I want to hop on this segment.
Oh yeah,
I got distracted on the One Piece, and so I don't know. I hear obscure anime and old anime, and I think of things that, like, there's a bartender that I had never heard of before, but there's also things that I think that people have heard of but never decided to watch, and I think they should watch. One of those, I always get brought up. People always go, "Yo, Barakamon, that's a fucking great show. I heard it's so good," but many people I've talked to never actually sat down and watched it. It's such a good staple in feel-good anime.
I mean, I love that show. I think it's great. I don't know if I would call it obscure, but you're right. Like, I think people are aware of it, but not many people have actually sat to complete it because it is a slice of life anime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a big barrier with slice of life for people like, especially like me. Like, I have a really short attention span, so a slice of life show has got to be, it's got to like get in my face. Good. Yeah. So the slice of life shows that I do like are stuff like K-On!, where it's the girls are playing music, or you could call it a slice of life, but it's mainly a comedy with like Hinamatsuri.
Which we talked about last episode, which was fucking great.
Oh yeah, it's a really funny show. But yeah, it's got to have some sort of hook to get me in there. Otherwise, like, I just tend to ignore it because it's just one of the many slice of life shows that premiere every season.
The funny thing about this podcast that I've realized so far in recording 4 episodes is that with a recurring cast, you normally have the same trends of topics, but we have a new cast every week, and somehow we still have the reoccurring topics of different anime that are random. Like, they're not like a fucking like things that should matter. It's like random shit.
The weird thing is that 2/3 of the cast is recurring, but it's what is having us loop back are the guests.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. So other anime that I think are, I guess I would say, in my definition, obscure, because I haven't seen many people talk about it. One was an anime that me and Lou loved, was Servant X Service, which was it wasn't a short, right? It was a full series.
No, it was a full length.
Okay.
Yeah, full length series. I think it was done by A1 Pictures.
The opening was fucking dope, and it was just about a big titty girl trying to make it in the servant industry life, being a civil servant. And I'm gonna run through mine right quick because I know mine's the shortest. There's an anime out there called it was a shit for me, but I loved it. It was Saki from the girls who played Mahjong. Anybody ever watched that?
I've heard of it, haven't seen it.
Okay, there's that one. It was in my
because like I hear that and I think Chihara Furu, but I know you're talking about something different.
Yeah, no, in my explore getting back to anime in my high school life, that was one of the ones that I watched, and I guess I loved it for nostalgia purposes. One of the original isekais that I've watched, my first ever isekai, was Problem Children Are Coming from a Different Dimension, aren't they?
I
remember that show.
Yeah, that was like one of my most requested shows back when I first started doing my channel. People wanted me to talk about that one like crazy.
So people did okay, that's good.
Like it was big at the time, and then I think it like disappeared because the story ended out of nowhere.
Yeah.
There was no resolution.
They caught up with the manga, I think, or Either that or they like ran out of budget or something like that, so they ended up having to stop midway through an arc or something.
My funny part about that is my favorite like isekai comparison to that is it is an isekai, but it breaks away from like the overpowered person, because the overpowered person in that group was never focused on. It was like he showed up like last minute. It was always a part of the story, but like in the last few episodes, they showed how overpowered he was. And normally in isekais, it's always like he's the first one to be shown, the overpowered one. Let's see, Server Day Servers. One of my favorite ecchis is from old school is Demon King Daimyo.
Oh god, that show's fucking awful.
It's so bad.
I remember
if you
Netflix
want,
had the rights for that, and it kept coming up in my queue, and I was like, I'm never going to watch this show.
That was in my Netflix phrase where I was marathon a bunch of Netflix shows, and that was it. And I'm like, anime titties, I'm in. Cool.
I mean, if you want anime titties and just really fucking
trash.
awful, like trash, that's relatively obscure. Campione is one.
Yeah.
Campione was so fucking bad, dude.
No, if you want to talk bad like harem shows, I still always will quote whenever people are like, anime is weird, and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty weird, because they have Aikikan, which is the show about girls that come out of soft drink cans.
Oh my god.
Dude, it's a real show. It's real bad. Never watch it. I watched the whole thing, and I still regret it.
Oh my god, that sounds like fucking terrible. I want to watch it now. Other ones that are like things that I think nobody's ever watched. Does anybody remember Suritama? The one about...
Oh, I fucking love Suritama.
The one with
yeah,
fishing and like the beautiful colors?
Yeah.
Yeah, it hit very hard when it first opened, and then like it dropped like suddenly.
I highly recommend watching the whole thing, man. It was another A1 Picture show. It's one of the ones where they break away from their normal art style or character designs.
Which is like
it's just very
when they
bright
do it,
and vibrant.
oh my god.
I mean, A1 is one of those studios that I think only the production, like the producers are consistent, and I think they bring on a new team for every show. I think I remember that's how that studio is ran.
And the last one, I will say for the, it's a rom-com that I love. It's called Kawaii Complex.
Kawaii Complex is great. I wouldn't call it obscure.
Okay, because like
But no, that show was huge. I think it was done by Brainspace.
I think the more that I list stuff is the more it's more of the shows that disappear through the seasons, I guess.
Yes, no, that's exactly what you're doing, and you know what? They're becoming obscure. So I think that's the issue. Is just you're identifying shows that are becoming obscure, and for a lot of the audience, they're gonna be confused as to what the fuck you're talking about. But I think there is going to be a contingent.
But for us, we're like, yo,
yeah,
that's some good shit.
Well, I mean, I think it's because we've been watching a lot and we've been watching for a long time.
Yeah, and a lot of these seasonal shows we've watched that are like, and that people haven't really got to, because they're just coming into it.
Like, and honestly, like if you guys name stuff from the past 2 years, like I haven't seen a lot of the most recent shows, so all of that's obscure.
Yeah, this is all like 2014 and below, I believe.
Yeah, pretty much.
So moving on, I'm done.
Well, I have one last one. Have either of you seen Bludgeoning Angel Dakota?
Angel? Bludgeoning Angel.
Bludgeoning.
That's one I have not seen. I have not seen that one.
It's fucking terrible, but if you ever have a chance to just look up a couple of GIFs of it online, it's pretty fucking intense.
Great.
The main character is an angel, and she fucking like every time it's a kind of like an ecchi like comedy series. And every time,
I fucking remember this GIF.
Every time the main character like walks in and sees her naked, because of course they do, she decapitates him or like impales him violently with a club.
Okay, makes sense.
And like you see like nasty cloud of blood. Like it's super over the top, and it's not good at all.
Oh, of course not.
It is a thing that exists, and for people that like really started watching in the early 2000s, like that was something that you would see like constantly thrown around.
This weapon, sure. her weapon specifically, I remember being in a bunch of shows not from now, but from the early 2000s, was very present. Like right now, I'm thinking of Dokuro-chan, and I'm thinking of Haruka no Kizaki no Himitsu, and I'm also thinking of, God damn it, there's another one. Anyways, all right, moving on.
So I think we're done covering obscure anime. So let's go ahead and talk about some new shit. Now, normally on the show, we do retro recommendations. And the thing is, that's what this entire podcast was centered on. So I think we should recommend something relatively recent. So something that's come out within the past couple years.
Okay, that's what you're talking about. Okay.
I can do a couple from this current airing season that I want to talk about.
All right. Sounds good.
The Tactical Maho Shoujo Asuka. I don't know. I haven't seen anyone talk about this show. I didn't even bring it up in my video because the first episode hadn't aired yet. The show is good. It's like really gripping. It's like the right amount of edgy. It's like it's not too like stupidly like bloody and gory. But like it's basically magical girls with, kind of advanced looking combat weaponry. After they defeat the big bad, they basically get enlisted as members of like the government, and they become like basically like a SWAT team or like Navy SEALs, and they're deployed tactically in military situations. It's
that sounds badass.
It's actually really fascinating, and also the soundtrack is bomb as hell. It's like every single attack sequence they do is like they'll be in the middle of like I can remember distinctly. Colleen and I were watching it, and we just kind of started laughing a little bit of how stupid it was, but it was great. The girl's not in her combat gear. She's not done her transformation or anything. She's just got like a gun, and they go up against like this cartel warehouse, and she like just looks at them and she's just like, I'm gonna transform. And then she does the whole fucking Sailor Moon thing in like 2 seconds. And they're like, it is still weird to see you do that, because they apparently can't tell that it's her because that's the way the magic works. Like, they're like, oh, well, we know it's you, but any other normal person would not know your true identity, yada, yada, yada. And then the action's really, really well animated. There's a couple of, there's a really awesome shot where, I think it's in episode 2, if you're gonna pull this out. But guy bumps into one of the girls in the street, and she starts having PTSD because she was recently in an attack. And it just like cuts back to the guy, and he's talking, and then it just pans to the right real quick, and the girl is just standing there, and then she does a full like judo takedown on him in a second, and like puts the knife at his neck, or like puts her hand at his neck, and is like ready to fucking off this dude. And she realizes that her friends are standing there, and she's like, oh, I should probably stop. Like it's yeah, it's really, really compelling so far, and like I said, I haven't seen many people talking about it. Promise Neverland is another one that everyone's going crazy for. But I think we've all said our piece on that one. The show that I do want to talk about, and I'm about to break sacred tradition. This isn't really an anime, although it borrows heavily from anime stuff. Have either of you watched Rooster Teeth's new show, Genlock?
I have not.
I have not.
You should.
Jinx, COBS soda.
You really, 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 really should. I was like very, very trepidatious, trepid. I don't know what the word I'm trying to think of is. I was nervous.
Define trepidacious.
Yeah, I was very nervous, and I was like, I've seen RWBY. I like RWBY enough. I'm not a huge fan of the show, specifically like nowadays. I think they're kind of doing some weird stuff, but I was a big fan of the first couple seasons of RWBY, and that all of that animation and stuff they're doing. And I've been on the internet long enough that I've seen pretty much all of Red versus Blue, and I was like, okay, this new show that they're coming out with has a lot of talent in it. And then they announced David Tennant for it, and I'll watch anything that has David Tennant in it because I fucking love him. Yeah. And then I watched the first episode. In the first episode, they absolutely nail the tone. The animation looks really, really good. They give these they do the 3D animation, which I was nervous about, but all of the mechs, all of the technology has like weight, It looks really, really stylized and good. They do some really interesting stuff with like the nanotech. And then they get to like the second and third episodes, and they just one up each other. Each episode has one up to the previous one, and I thought I was going to get sick of them like making nods to David Tennant being the Doctor, but they do it subtly enough that it's not a huge deal.
Okay, but they do it, right?
They do a little bit, yeah, but
okay.
It's mainly just kind of like quips that you can recognize from the other show. Like he'll say like spoilers or something like that. But his dialogue is so. I feel like it's not even written for him. I feel like he wrote the dialogue himself because it sounds like stuff that he would say. But so far, all of the action has been great. The concepts that they're presenting are really, really good. The actual kind of it's not necessarily a twist, but it's like they go into detail about how the mechs work, and it's nuts. Like I was like, this is a really cool idea. So far, I've been nothing but impressed. I've been nothing but impressed with this show, and I really think everybody should give it a watch. Even if you're like, it's not an anime, it's like, no, it's just a really good show, and it just happens to be airing on a service like Verve that has a bunch of anime stuff with it. It's also very heavily anime inspired. I mean, it is a mecha, so
what's it called?
There you go. Genlock. Also, the OP is a fucking banger. It's really good.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I highly recommend once we're done with this recording tonight that you guys at least watch the first episode.
I've seen the teasers for this. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but
I'll consider giving it a look.
Yeah, at least watch the first episode. That's all I ask.
Yeah,
because
no, for sure I'll do that.
Also, it's got Michael B. Jordan in it.
Hey,
friggin' Killmonger himself.
Anime.
He does. He has stated publicly. Now he's like sort of in one, so it's cool.
This is in my top 5, a show that that aired a couple years ago that I love, and I think it was in episode 0. I said I've watched this show 3 times. Magical Circle Guru Guru 2017, a relatively new show. It was done by Production IG. Extremely well animated. Very, very fast-paced comedy. Like, if you like the whole inspired by video games thing, then this is definitely a show worth checking out because it kind of like takes all the tropes from it and it pokes fun at them, and it's just a really warm experience. And I like. John, you said you have trouble with focusing on things.
Oh, well,
if that's the case,
here's the thing.
Here's the
thing with this.
Yeah?
You have talked this show out the ass on your Twitter, and I've watched like the first episode, and I see what it's doing, and I have like a list of shows that is my rainy day folder. So whenever I have like. K-On! Was in it for a while, and then I finally watched it. Gunbuster, or not Gunbuster, Diebuster is in there. Finishing Birdie the Mighty is in there because I've never finished Birdie. And then like I have Maho Shoujo Guru Guru, or Magic Circle Guru Guru, whatever you want to call it. And then there's a couple of other like kind of happy-go-lucky shows like that. Osamatsu-san is in there. Because
I fucking love Osamatsu-san.
I know it's funny and I know it's good, so I know like that's another show that I've got on the back burner for like when I'm having a bad day or something like that.
Good shit, dude. Good shit. You had a nice little stack of stuff to watch.
Yeah, dude. That's my thing. Is like I typically try to pick one of those a season where it's like I don't watch it. And then, like, at the end of the season, if I'm, like, out of stuff to watch or if I've got, like, a day where I've got nothing to do, I'll just, like, boot up something on my Switch or, like, play something on my phone and just, like, have that up in the background and watch the whole thing. And if it like, truly invests me, I'll just put everything down and start watching it. The last show I really did that with was, God, what was the last show I did that with? Oh no, it was Be the Beginning. because it all aired at once, and I was like, I'll watch that whenever it comes out, and I just put it on in the background. I was like, oh, this is actually kind of interesting so far. And then like halfway through the season, I just picked my Switch, or not my Switch. I picked my controller back up and just started playing Dark Souls in the background because I was like, this is stupid. This got really stupid.
That show fell off a cliff.
Yeah, but it
has a sequel, doesn't it? Like, it's getting a sequel.
Yeah, it is getting a sequel, which I am curious to see. But I will say, even though it got stupid in the latter half of the show, has some of the coolest fucking fight animation I've ever seen. That
it looks alright.
That whole
like the choreography for some of those fights.
Oh
are
yeah.
pretty good.
Garnt talked about it in his 2018 anime video. The fight scene that they have, it's like on the lake where the water's all in the air. That's like one of the coolest fight scenes that came out of last year, for me at least.
Yeah, I'll agree. It was pretty solid.
Yeah. Let's see, what else has come out recently.
I got one.
What about you, Dakota?
I got one. I believe the what was the Amazon thing they came out with that like died fast?
Anime Strike?
Strike, yeah. So Strike had holds of an anime that I loved that Random put on to me. So Random turned me on to this anime. And I think that it got drowned out by all the Anime Strike thing going on. It's called Kokoku. Have y'all watched it?
Oh, yeah. That's the... It's got the flashback as the OP. The...
No stop. Flashback.
Yeah. I watched a few episodes of it and I thought it was an interesting concept, but like...
It's a very interesting concept, yeah.
After a while, I was just kind of like,
It's weird because like the thing that I loved about Kokoku is that when in normal anime they do this like so in the premise of the anime is that this girl reveals apparently she didn't know that her whole family's in this fucking thing where they could freeze time. It's a passed on tradition, and a lot of other people have it. So her grandpa like just shows this ability to freeze time, and they try to rescue her family. And when they do this, I guess they call it its stasis world, and they reveal they can go into the stasis world. And my thought process was, all right, cool. Well, they're going to show the stasis world. They're going to leave it. And this is going to be the premise of the show. They're going to go back to it multiple times, but they don't. The whole show after the first episode takes place in the same stasis world, and I thought that was really interesting. I love that so much because it just strands so different from like we're going to master this and do this multiple times. And in this one, the whole series takes place in this single stasis.
Yeah. It was definitely interesting for sure. I thought it was having the entirety of the show take place in an encapsulated moment is like it's that kind of like fringe shit you think of when you're trying to do writing classes and stuff when you're in high school. Like, what if this happened? And it was really, really cool, but it didn't really hold on in terms of like pacing for me. It just kind of, after a certain point, it started to feel like it was kind of plodding along, mainly because it was frozen in time. It just felt like there wasn't any like progression to the show after a certain point.
Yeah. I get that. And like for episode 3 through like 7, it's literally just plot building and idea building for them. To where I think maybe hopping out of stasis and going back to it would have worked. I don't know. All the families had different dynamics of the show. They had really great character, I guess, arcs or whatever. The dad was a piece of shit. Fucking hated him. But definitely an interesting watch for me. I loved it to death, and I think it got overlooked a lot by just being Anime Strike, and people couldn't watch it as freely as... And I think Amazon still has that problem, too, because a lot of people don't realize now that if they have an Amazon Prime, they could watch all this shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really enjoyed it. it was a great opening, which I don't know why the opening's not in the Crunchyroll Awards, but it's a great opening. For me, it was a fun show, and I don't know, I liked it a lot. Try watching it.
That's what's up.
For sure.
All right, so guys, I think we've talked about some old anime, some new anime, and I think it's time we roll into our legacy segment, the Waifu Hall of Fame. For those of you that are new to the show, the Waifu Hall of Fame is us paying homage to it's an homage to the underappreciated waifus, the waifus that don't necessarily get the most attention. We here at the Anime Hour want to have a platform, or we have a platform in which we can celebrate them, and that is the Waifu Hall of Fame. So I'll go ahead and now go first, and my waifu is going to be my anime list. My anime list allowed me to remember the details for all these really obscure and old shows.
Absolute mad lad.
My anime list has been quite helpful, as any other anime YouTuber knows.
So it's just like
my anime list and ANN.
I was about to say,
definitely are viable sources for keeping us
like
employed.
a physical my
Shout
anime
out to
list,
our
or
to
is
our
it
friends
Mal?
that work at ANN.
We have friends that work at ANN.
Yeah, we know Jacob Chapman.
Oh,
Yeah, and
shout out to being really easy to make anime news specials with.
Right.
Callum's done some writing for them.
Damn.
Callum does writing for him.
Damn.
I also I follow Michael. Is it Michael O'Toole or just Michael Toole? I don't remember which one it is.
I don't remember. I know who you're talking about though.
Yeah, he's got some great takes on stuff that's airing that
So-
he just tweets it out.
Lou, is it like actual Mal, or is it like your literal anime list?
No, like the whole website.
Oh, the website.
Because
the actual
even if
website, okay.
because if I haven't actually watched the show, that's fine. You know, I can still go in and use it as a reference.
So shout out to
for
Mal,
shit
who
that
is
I'm
Best
doing.
Girl, and the Anime News Network, who is Second Best Girl, who is potential.
They are total waifus. Mal is, in my case, the waifu. ANN is the childhood friend that some people
Don't do
would say
this. Not like
should
this.
be
Not like
the
this.
waifu, but never ends up being the waifu.
God damn it. Okay, that's fair. John, you got a waifu to enter?
Yes. This is from a little kind of an obscurely known show. It's you might have heard of it. It's called High School DxD. There's a lot of very good waifus in this show, but there's one particular thing in the show, one particular waifu that takes place above all the others, because without it, most of the hijinks in High School DxD wouldn't happen, which is Issei's fucking bed. Because when you really think about it, that dude's got let's see, 6 to 7 chicks on it at once. Like, that thing's got to have great support. Like, when you really, it's got to be like a Serta or like
Springs,
Tempur-Pedic.
nah, dude, Tempur-Pedic all the way.
like when you really sit down and think about it, you're like, man, that thing must be able to support a lot of weight.
A lot of waifus.
Absolutely. And when you
That's
take
a
into
quality fucking waifu.
when you take into account too, most of these girls like cup sizes and things like that, with the exception of a couple of them. Like, there's a lot of extra
1,000
weight.
pounds
Yeah.
per episode. The bed frame and the bed itself is great.
Yes. Let's
my
say it's a
God.
set of twins, if that's the case.
There we go. Twincest. In this bed set. My waifu is gonna be towards Dakota Fanning, who apparently I just found out did work on goddamn this Rooster Teeth anime potential. Genlock.
It's the name of the show that I literally just told you to go watch.
I'm on the wiki.
See, Dakota's been
and I'm
drinking.
Like, yo, where the fuck is this name? I'm like, oh, it's the name of the wiki. So yeah, shout out to Dakota Fanning. Also, Dakota Fanning, thank you so much for making my fucking elementary school and middle school life miserable. because it was all like, yo, what's your name? And he's like, Austin. And I'm like, cool, my name's Dakota. And they go, like Dakota Fanning? Hey, look, everybody, it's Dakota Fanning. And I'm like, fuck off. And that hurt a lot. But now that I see you in Genlock and doing great things in other great movies that I'm sure you're in that I have no idea about, thanks for being a fucking good ass waifu for this entry.
Quality anime girl.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's it for us here at the Anime Hour. We actually went long, and that's fine. I don't mind at all.
John's voice is beautiful, and y'all guys wanted to hear it longer.
That's right.
That's
baby.
facts. That's facts. All right. Anyways, my name's Lou from Lou Talks Anime. You can find me on Twitter at Lou Talks Anime. I have a YouTube channel where I don't ever upload, but fuck it, go subscribe if you want. Maybe I'll upload a thing. Who knows? And with me today has been Dakota from Dakota Broski TV.
Oh shit, that's me. Hi, Dakota Broski from Anime TV. Dakota Broski Anime TV here. Kind of got really drunk. Not sure how that happened. Could have done nothing with the 7 and 7 drinks and the 4 Roses bourbon. With me today has been our beautiful, wonderful guest, the shouting man into the mic, BaronJ.
Hello, it is I. So
His bird finally shut up.
Yeah, she's finally like she's just preening herself in the corner.
She's cute.
Yes, she's adorable. But yeah, you can find me at youtube.com/user/BaronJ Says Words. I'm on Twitter at BaronJ Says Words. I'm on Twitch at BaronJ Plays Games. Yada yada yada. You can kind of figure out the naming convention from there. If you want to see videos about anime that don't bore you to death, or like you just want to laugh at with me, then you can find me there.
Hell yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Hey
Absolutely.
everybody, it's BaronJ.
It's me.
It was a good time.
That's the name of my thing.
All right, everybody. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.